Hey everybody, it's Robert Dunt from ArtTop10.com, and I'm here today at Graham Crowley's summer show, Silent Disco, and I'm very pleased to be chatting with Kate Murdoch. Kate, hello.
Hi there, hi.
So tell me about this gorgeous thing. I have a sense of what it is, but yeah, tell me how it came about. What was the idea?
Well, how this came about was sifting through the studio, which I do a lot of the time. I'm a collector and I have lots and lots of stuff. This actually came about at a time when I was thinking about actually the death from COVID, actually. That is very current. And I was trying to imagine the figures of the enormity of the death that were around. Yeah. And I started to think about my own grandmother, who has a lot of influence on the work I make. This one here is an original. It's one of those, I think they're 1970s frames that people used to put pictures of their grandchildren in, relatives. So like most things I collect a few of them. Yeah.
There's only 3 here, but I'm imagining there's like 700 back in the studio.
There are a lot. But these colours just, for me, were reminiscent of a certain era. So it really is a question of putting them together. And
so you actually chose the colours on purpose
I did choose the colours, yes, I did.
To show what? To show. Well, so the colours. What atmosphere did you want them to communicate?
For me, it's an era. It's the colour is all about certain eras. This is a very sort of, to me, this is a very sort of 70s, 80s colour. Yeah. And the brown Hessian here, that's very 70s. This was the original frame. So the colours are that I had. You're right, I do have, not quite 700, but I do have a lot of these in the studio. But these 3 just somehow summed up the kind of colours that my nana would have in the house, the kind of beige and pale sage greens, very sort of, very, for me, quite boring colours, but very reminiscent of a certain era, really.
They always look like those colours like they've been washed out, like they've been bleached by the sun.
Yes, and I'm sure they have. In fact, you can actually see it here. This is the Hessian that was behind. This is the original frame, and you can actually see sun bleaching there. So the photographs are no longer there.
But so this frame and this one here, this is actually an original.
This is the original, this one here and this frame. Yeah, and I really wanted to keep that. And then these other 2 are from different pictures. I mean, are you aware of what these are? They were.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, cause interesting. My sons weren't at all. Oh. My sons are 23. You're like, oh, where did they come from? But for my age, they are very reminiscent. The kind of thing that a grandmother would have above the mantelpiece with each grandchild in each, sort of hole.
Yeah, in each hole. Yeah. Is this back to front? If you flipped it, Is that the front of this one? I just wondered if you'd flipped it over to get the colour.
I think I have flipped that one over, yes, because you can see the colours here. In this one, you can certainly see the sellotape where a photograph is held in place. Yeah. So I think this is flipped, yes. I think the other side was more a brown colour, but I like these 2 colours together. And I like this gold, although I don't really like those frames as they are, per se. I love that's a very, to me, 80s sort of.
Yeah. And you've made quite careful decisions about where the things go, haven't you? So the white one's gone here, and this green one's been shifted to the side.
Yeah, and I wanted to have these sort of like abstracty. It took a while. It did take a while. I remember putting them together in the studio at first and taking a photo off and going home and thinking, oh, actually, this, especially against the brown. Again, you can see this bleach bit here. Yeah.
I think what's really interesting is that it looks quite simple. But in reality, all the decisions you've made are quite careful. So you made little decisions like to keep the gold bit, where to place them, which I think is what's quite interesting because it has got nice shapes, really nice.
Yeah. Well, I think that sort of almost represents what emotionally I was going through at that time because, my mum, who's 92 now, was talking about how these figures were just being read out in this really calculated way. Today we have 342 deaths. Today we have, and it was really upsetting her. And she was saying, these are people. These aren't figures. Why do they keep showing us graphs? Why do they keep showing us figures? These are people. And so in each of these, there would have been a person. My nana's one would have had, my cousins, various people, but they were very dated because they were pictures of my cousins when they were at school, so... Yeah.
But it's quite interesting because like you say, they read out the numbers, but this highlights the fact that there were people in them, but you don't get to see who it is either, do you? So you're keeping that.
Yeah. I mean, the title is All the Dead Dears, and that's exactly what it's about. It was about all those people in care homes who were just shunted off and buried in one way or another, and never really accounted for or respected in in their lives, and at the end of their lives. So that it's very much a COVID piece of work for me. Everybody said don't make work about COVID, but I decided to just go for it. So that's what it is really. Yeah.
And so is your work normally like this, or is it inspired by the Renaissance or something?
My work is normally about collections of stuff, and this is very unusual for me in that, well, not that unusual. I have done other wall-based work, but it's unusual for me in that it's in a contained frame. Okay. And that's quite, I like that. I like the fact that I could parcel this up and send it to Graham. Normally my work is about installation and going to the place and spending hours working there. And so it's a bit of a new thing for me, which...
So it's normally more sort of, as it were, site-specific, but normally you create something weird in the place with the things you've collected.
I respond to spaces very much. This responded to the actual title of the show, Silent Disco, because it just did make me think about the silence around the death of so many people. Yeah.
Oh, it's really cool. I noticed it from the start, and I did realise it was those frames, but I thought it was really cool how it was put together. It was really nice.
Okay, thank you very much.
Bomba clap.